It's been a while since I did my last zombie world deck profile. So these are the core cards for Zombie World. You can run pretty much whatever else you want, but you'll probably be running these cards if you're playing Zombie World. So we have Glow Bloom, Uni Zombie, Mizuki, Shiranui Spirit Master, Shiranui Solitaire, Yozuki, Necroworld Banshee, Jackal Poland, Doom King Ballad Rock, Terraforming, not that card, Zombie World, Super Poly, Shiranui Style Swallow Slash, Dragon of the Swamp, Dragon Necro, Nether Soul Dragon, Formula Synchron, Shiranui Sun Saga, Baron DeFleur, Link Rebo, Crystron Hulky Fibrax, Vampire Sucker, and Evandred Savior. So basically, these are the core cards. These are the cards you'll be running for the core. So with the core out of the way, these are some of the other cards you can put in this deck. We have Danger Jackalope and Danger Tsuchinoko to get some extra bodies for like Hulk, and to put some of your cards, like maybe if it hits a Banshee, that'd be pretty swell. And then we also have Scythe. You can just summon a Dagda, and then on the next turn you can set Dagda with Hulk, and then go into Wonder Magician, pop the Hulk, or pop the Scythe, and then go into Baron DeFleur with the Wonder Magician and the Scythe. And then we have Chicken Game here as well as an option, because if you have Terraforming and Zombie World in your hand, that just sucks ass. And this deck is kind of like vulnerable to Ash, so if your Uni-Zombie gets Ashed, that can put a stop to your combo. But if you bait it out with the Chicken Game, Ash is only once per turn, so you can just maybe Book of Life something and just go into Hulk. And we have Book of Life here. This is decent-ish turn 1 if they use a hand trap of some kind. So you can just use Uni-Zombie's effect to throw something from your hand, which can't be ashed. But the second effect, where you throw from a deck to graveyard, that one can be ashed. So, yeah. And Necroworld Banshee's effect also can't be ashed, which is nice. So you could potentially chain block with it, but it's probably not going to happen. In most cases it doesn't. And then we have Called by the Grave. Called by like a Maxi or Ash, probably. And then we have Zombie Necronize here. This card is mostly for the Eldlik matchup, because if you have if there is a level 5 or higher zombie monster on the field, you can just take control of one of your opponent's monsters. And this card also recycles itself, but the recycle itself isn't that good. So on the turn, this card gets sent to the graveyard. You can't recycle it. To recycle, you have to shuffle one of your banished zombie monsters back into the deck, which is pretty doable, but you have to use this card, and then I'll send it to the graveyard, and then you can use the effect to set this on your field, and then the turn after you can use it again. So it's probably best for just the Eldlik matchup. Return of the Zombies, though. That card is pretty good. If you have a Zombie World on the field, it's basically like another Ballad Rock Banish almost, but for on field, because the Banish is non-targeted, but it would require you to have a Zombie World on field in most cases, and then you can just summon back a monster in their graveyard. In most cases, you'll probably bring back something like a Veiler or an Ash, maybe a Maxi. And then we have Rivalry. How Rivalry works is that when you use it with Zombie World, your opponent will basically only be able to summon one monster, and then it'll become a zombie. And then they'll be locked into summoning zombies. So they wouldn't be able to summon, for example, Hulk, since Hulk is a machine. This also applies to yourself, so you don't want to be flipping this over and then trying to use Hulk's effect to bring out a Formula Synchron or TG Wonder Magician, because you can't. Because this locks you into only zombies as well, you won't be able to Super Poly, because Dragon Necro Nether Soul Dragon is not a zombie monster, it's a dragon. A dragon or iron. So you'll probably want to pop Super Poly before you use Rivalry. Some cards I forgot to mention are Eradicator Epidemic Virus and Full Force Virus. You can technically run these in a zombie deck as well. So basically you could tribute either you can just tribute Doom King for these, and Doom King will probably just come back the next turn. So with Eradicator Epidemic Virus, you can look at your opponent's hand and then destroy all spell traps they control, and it'll also prevent them from having spells or traps depending on which you choose. For 3 turns, they won't be able to have them in their hand. And if they do, they'll be destroyed. And for Full Force Virus, this will destroy all monsters with 1,500 or less defense points in their hands. So this also works as like a Feather Duster on your turn, I guess. So you might like choose Trap against like an Eldlick player, and that'd be pretty good, yeah. So I haven't done many deck profiles. I kind of forgot to mention the extra deck monsters I put in here. So we have Red Eyes Zombie Necro Dragon. It's kind of decent. You can go into it with just like Uni Zombie and something else here, just a generic 4. But it's honestly not that great, but it is only rare, so that's nice. And then we have Warlord Savage Dragon, which you can just go into by using Uni Zombie's effect, make Uni Zombie level 4, and then any other level 4 monster. And then we have Relinquished Anima, for when you're going second, when you're throwing up Blow Up Bloom. Instead of using Link Revo, you could use Anima, get rid of a monster on the field. And then we have Verde, it just searches Super Poly. And then we have Star Eater, it's a bit of a beat stick. Which is pretty nice, I guess. And then we have Gas Ruler. Gas Ruler, bit of RNG, but you could potentially get some good mills off of it. And that could go a long way later, maybe. And then we have Degda. So we go Degda and Hulk, and then Hulk summons Wonder Magician, and then Degda can use its effect to set Scythe, so it resolves backwards. Chain 2, Chain 1, Wonder Magician, unsummon, targets one spell trap on the field, target Artifact Scythe, and then Artifact Scythe will go to the graveyard, so it could technically still get called by, but I'm assuming they might try targeting Ballard Rock in this case before this happens anyways. So, and called by is limited to 2, so if they still have a second called by, that'd be pretty bad, I guess. But anyways, you Scythe, and then with Wonder Magician's effect, you Synchro Scythe Wonder Magician into Baron or Shiranui Sun Saga, and Shiranui Sun Saga will return a zombie Synchro monster, and then it can destroy a card on the field, face up or face down. And in this case, it'll return a Wonder Magician, so it can destroy one. Or you can summon Baron de Fleur for an Omni Negate that destroys. Yeah, it's Baron. So this is the deck I run for ranked. But I kinda forgot to mention a few things about the last deck. Like, Ready Fusion is released now, so you can use Ready Fusion with Theseus. And Theseus will allow you to go into Hulk. So, like, for example, you Ready Fusion, summon Theseus, and then you could normal a Banshee, and then you can go into Hulk. So I run 2 Glow Plume, 3 Uni Zombie, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Mizuki, 1 Shiranui Spirit Master, yeah. Just the zombie core here, basically. And then I run this copy of Chicken Game to bait out Ash, and it's pretty decent when I have Chicken Game with Terraforming, or Chicken Game with Zombie World, or Chicken Game with Uni Zombie. It's pretty good, honestly. And your opponent, if you can get Zombie World or Necro World Banshee, they won't be able to draw a card with Chicken Game, so it doesn't do anything but bait Ash or make this a 39 card deck, I guess. So I run 3 copy of Shiranui style Swallow Slash because I'm pretty desperate for back row removal with this deck, but I don't want to put like hard focus on it. And Shiranui style Swallow Slash is also useful for just removing stuff from the field as well, because I can pop 3 with Shiranui Spirit Master. Only 2 back row though, because Spirit Master doesn't actually pop back row because it'll, well, it kind of can if it's like a continuous spell or a continuous trap, because it only pops face up cards. Zombie Necronize is here for mostly Eldlicks and stuff like that, or sometimes this card is useful when your opponent has like some kind of condition where if a card leaves the field, then something happens. But with Zombie Necronize, I can just take that monster instead of sending it off the field, which is kind of nice in those situations, but they don't come up hyper often. And then we have 2 copies of Return of the Zombie here with 2 copies of Rivalry, which is basically just to do the Zombie World Rivalry lock. And Return of the Zombies is also nice here because, for example, if they have a Max Z, I can just bring back the Max E after they do their normal or special, and then they just have a lone Max E, which is just like a normal monster that they can't even link away. They can't really do anything with it. The best they could hope to do is like to crash it into something, like, but that probably won't happen because I normally put all my monsters in defense position because of Lightning Storm. So they wouldn't be able to even crash the monster. Actually, they can't crash it because it summons the zombie monster from the graveyard in defense position. So even if I did put my monsters in attack position, they can't crash with Return of the Zombies. And this kind of just acts as like a Ballard Rock Banish on the field, because Ballard Rock's Banish is non-targeted and this one is not as well. But Ballard Rock's also affects the graveyard. And Return of the Zombies also allows you to dodge Called by the Grave. So you can kind of greed with the Vampire Sucker. Sometimes when you use Vampire Sucker, like you link away Doom King and Link Repo to make a Vampire Sucker. When the standby phase happens, they'll just called by the Grave Doom King. But with Return of the Zombies, you can just kind of salvage the situation a little bit and still get Ballard Rock on the field and dodge the called by, so they're just down a called by. And then this is pretty normal here. And my extra deck is at 12 because of Banquet Burn. Not much I can do about it. So there were some things I forgot to explain earlier, so I'll just do it now. So Artifact Scythe's effect is if this is special summoned during your opponent's turn, they can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. Specifically special summon, so you summoned it back with Jacobulin, for example, or Mizuki, I guess. You couldn't summon it with Mizuki, that's not really possible. But like Jacobulin or Return of the Zombies, they'd be locked out of their extra deck, and if this card is destroyed, like if it's set in the Spell and Trap Zone and is destroyed, it'll get sent to the graveyard and then it'll special summon itself as well. So you use Wonder Magician's effect with that. And Glow Up Bloom's effect is that it can search or summon a level 5 or higher zombie monster, depending if you have Zombie World on the field or not. But if Zombie World is on the field, you can still search and add to your hand, but there's probably not like a situation where that's better most of the time. Like later on, there might be an opportunity for you to search Ballard Rock and use Vampire Sucker's effect. If you would tribute a monster for a tribute summon, you can tribute a zombie monster your opponent controls, even though you do not control them. So if you would like a Vampire Sucker, a Zombie World, and a Ballard Rock, you can do that. Ballard Rock's effect, you'd negate a monster effect. Has to be a zombie. So with Zombie World, if they try to use a monster effect on field or in graveyard, you can negate it with Ballard Rock, or you can use his banish one monster from the field or graveyard. And you don't need Zombie World to be active, or its effect to be active, to use Ballard Rock's effect. You can use like an Ash or like any of the zombie hand traps, and those would all work as well to trigger the banish. And then we have Terraforming here. It'll search at Zombie World. Jacobulin's effect, when it's special summoned, you'll throw out one zombie monster, and during your opponent's main phase, you can summon zombie monster from the graveyard, and then it'll be banished after. So for example, if your opponent had Ray, you can special summon Ray, and this will actually mess with Sky Striker players pretty hard, because normally what happens with Sky Strikers is they have like a Sky Striker, like, I don't know, let's say Kaguri or something, and if you remove Kaguri here, they'll summon Ray, and then they can just go into more Sky Striker links. But like, if you were to use your Bolen's effect on the Ray, even if they destroy the Ray now, it won't be returned to the graveyard, it'll be banished instead, and you can just use this Ray to go into like a Sucker or a Degda or a Vendred Savior or something like that. Bolen's pretty good. Some people run it at 1, but I like to run it at 2 personally. And then we have Banshee. It's a quick effect from the graveyard or on the field. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard, and then that'll activate one zombie world directly from your hand or deck, so it can't be ashed because it's getting activated, and that's not one of the things on Ash's conditions, I guess. So Unizombie, you can think of it as having like 2 effects. It can throw from your hand 1 card, discard 1 card, and then that'll allow you to use its effect, increase monsters level by 1. And then its other effect, you throw out a zombie from your deck, so all these cards are zombies. And then we have Solitaire here. We basically just use it to search out Unizombie, but it can technically search out any zombie tuner and just special summon it after it tributes itself, which can be ashed, which is kind of just not a fun time. And then we have Gozuki here. Gozuki has 2 effects. So Gozuki has the ability to send a monster like Unizombie's second effect, you can think of it like that. And then the other effect is you can banish 1 zombie monster aside from Gozuki, and that'll special summon 1 zombie monster from your hand, so because we're running zombies, it could summon like Ballard Rock, Jacobolin, Banshee, Wilplin, just whatever. And then you can probably go into like Hulk, Vampire Sucker, or whatever, I guess. And you can put, like, for example, if he summoned Mezuki, you can put Mezuki in the grave like that, or a Banshee, and they'll just give you a nice extender. And then we have Shiranui Spirit Master, which is here for Shiranui style Swallow Slashes effect, where you target 2 cards on the field, you'll destroy them. Then you can banish 1 Shiranui monster from your deck. This is limited to once per turn, this effect though. So most of the time we'll be banishing Spirit Master. And Spirit Master also has the effect where it can special summon 1 Shiranui monster from your hand or graveyard. So like Solitaire. So, and Solitaire's banish effect is it'll special summon a banished Shiranui monster, but it can't summon itself, so it'll just summon Spirit Master. So, almost forgot to mention, but you can technically use Ballard Rock's effect to banish your own Spirit Master. This doesn't sound useful, but it can be. Like, if they have a Macrocosmos, for example, you can just use Ballard Rock's effect to banish Spirit Master, or if they have some kind of back row you need to pop, it's possible to like just search and throw Spirit Master with Unizombie or Gozuki, or just special summon him with Jacobolin, and then he'll be banished after. that's pretty good for that. But yeah. Let's talk about some matchups. So zombies aren't that great here. Well, Zombie World, I guess, isn't that great at going second. But when you go first, you can set, well, I guess you would call them floodgates, I guess. Like the Zombie World here. If you just have this on the field, you just win against Tri-Brigades. If they can't out the Zombie World, well, you just win. Like, if you just, real quick, just, you know. And then, yeah, we just, like, we set this, we're solid, because, Shrig, for example, well, any of these, they require 2 Beast Warrior and or Winged Beast monsters. So it's literally impossible for them to summon anything except for Beerbrum. Aside from that, they can't summon anything. And their effect requires them to banish Beast Warriors and or Winged Beast monsters, and then they can special summon, but for Zombie World, there are none. And then that also makes Revolt invalid, so they can't use Revolt at all. And because of that, they can't go into Shrig. So, Tri-Brigade, it's just a free win if you're playing with Zombie World. And they have no way to out it. So for the Eldblick matchup, you'll, well, I have Zombie Necronize and Return of the Zombies. With Return of the Zombies, I can just more or less, if they like Ash me or something, or if they have a Max C and I have Zombie World out on the field, just with a single Return of the Zombies, I can pretty effectively banish 2 Golden Lords. So, banish 1, special summon 1, and then I'll give them like Ash or something back, and then I'll recycle this, which I can do on the same turn, and then I can't activate it again on the same turn though, but after that I'll be able to use Return of the Zombies like next turn or on a later turn. They'll let me just banish a Golden Lord. But if they have like Imperial Order, that's a little bit rough, because I can't play Zombie Necronize. And with Zombie Necronize, you can just pull the trigger. You don't even need a Zombie World on the field. You can just use this and you can yoink a Golden Lord. And it'll just be on your field. It's not as good as just raw banishing it with Return of the Zombies, but still a pretty decent card with Zombie World overall. And the Scythe doesn't really come into play that hard because they don't really go into the extra deck that often. Called by, decent. Going first to second doesn't matter that much for this matchup, but it's better go first. You can get your Uni-Zombie going, summon Ballad Rock, maybe a Jacko Bolin. Bolin can special summon a Golden Lord, and then if it's destroyed it'll just be banished, so it's pretty much just a good time just yoinking their Eldblicks with this, and it's also a quick effect as well, so there's nothing they can really do against the Bolin. If they have a skill drain on field though, it becomes a little rough, and you'll need a bit of a part of the cards. You'll need a Swallow Slash probably, or a Spirit Master to give you an out. So for the Evil Twin matchup, I honestly don't even know what Evil Twins do, but I mean, I just hit them with the Digda or the Rivalry, Zombie World Lock, and I'm pretty fine just doing that. But for Drytrons, just having Zombie World out will slow them down a bit. It won't necessarily just automatically win you the game like with Dry Brigade, because the tribute is from the field or hand, and it has to be machine monster, which they'll be zombies because of Zombie World, and that'll slow them down a bit, I guess. But I mean, the good old Degda and Baron combo does wonders here. For Virtual World, it's not that much of an issue, honestly, if they summon the True King of all calamities. It's kind of fine. Doesn't really do that much. The issue would be if they just sat on a Shen Shen, but there's probably no chance of them doing that, because they won't know what deck you're running when you're going second. And if you're going first, you should just probably just be able to beat them, you know, you've got the sight, Degda. And then for the Emancipator matchup, I mean, it's just, if you go first, you can potentially side block them. If you go second, there's just no shot, you just lose. They'll just probably set up a full board. But I mean, that's only true if you're not running hand traps like, how do I search for this? Like, if you're running a bunch of copies of like Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, Ghost Mourner, Amulet, Chill, and maybe Ghost Spell, you should just be fine. But my deck build specifically, you're just hoping to win the coin flip here, really. So I'll show you guys the bread and butter combo. I'll only be using the Gozuki and the Uni-Zombie here, so Uni-Zombie, normal Uni-Zombie, and then we level up Uni-Zombie, discard Gozuki, and then we use Uni-Zombie's other effect for a Mezuki. So typically, if you have Mezuki, you would throw out Gozuki, or the other, or I guess, yeah. So you basically want Mezuki and Gozuki in the grave, because then you can use Mezuki, and then that'll summon Gozuki, and then Gozuki will be able to search out your zombie world with the Banshee. So then go Hulk. And then here, if you have like a Jack-o'-Bolin, you could technically bring out like an Ash or like another Uni-Zombie or whatever you have. And then you can go into Baron here, and that would stop you from getting Nibirued, so that's a line of play you could take, but most of the time you'll just go into Blow Up Bloom, and then you'll link away your Bloom with Link Rebo. And then here I'll chain Glow Up Bloom, and then I'll chain Banshee. If I had it on instead of auto, that could block Ash, but I mean, you get Ashed usually way earlier in the combo, so it's not really particularly useful to do this, honestly. And then we summon Ballad Rock. And then here, you can either just, like, you can just leave the Ballad Rock here and end your turn. Maybe, like, set whatever cards you have. Or you can go for the Vampire Sucker. It's kind of greedy because you can get called by, and then your Ballad Rock is just banished, and you're down a Bloom and Ballad Rock, and it's not really what you want, but you can do this. And because of Glow Bloom's effect, you can't, like, after you use Glow Bloom's effect, you wouldn't be able to use a Super Poly because our extra deck monster here, they're dragons and worms, so we wouldn't be able to do that. And we also can't go into Degda because Degda is a fairy. We can just like end the turn here. And then we can get some decent advantage with this though, with the Sucker. So what we're gonna do is let that resolve. And then yeah. We'll wait a bit here. When you summon Formula Synchron, you want Hulk to be chain 1, so you can draw a card. If it's not chain 1, you'll miss timing. But you can technically use Hulk's effect to also trigger Ballad Rock to banish a monster from graveyard or field. So it's the end of the main phase here. And he set a card and okay. So we can now chain Ballad Rock here, and that won't make it miss timing. So we'll banish the face down. Then we can either summon Wonder Magician to pop that back row, or we can go Formula Synchron, which ends the same way, but we'll have Shiranui Sun Saga. So I'll let this resolve. And I'll use his effect. I won't negate it because they'll just... yeah. It actually doesn't do anything if you negate it because the Formula Synchron's effect isn't once per turn. So you could kind of flex, I guess, with that, you know, give some false hope if you're into that kind of thing, but whatever. So now we summon Sun Saga, Sun Saga's effect. And then we have Formula Synchron, returns. Then we can destroy a card on the field, it's just any card, on your opponent's field specifically, but we'll pop the back row. And then that's the combo. That was only 2 cards, and we could have, like, set the Super Poly or the Rivalry, but that's basically your bread and butter combo. Basically, you just make Vampire Sucker and Hulk, and you can do this. Yeah. So I kind of forgot to mention, but for the last combo, you just need basically a Uni-Zombie or a Shiranui Solitaire, and either a Mizuki, a Zombie World, or a Necro World Banshee in your hand, and you can do that combo. But for this one, we'll need a Uni-Zombie, Mizuki or a Gozuki would be fine, and then a Zombie World or a Necro World Banshee. And instead of Uni-Zombie, you can use a Shiranui Solitaire, but having Solitaire kinda sucks because it's just an additional special summon, which makes you kind of susceptible to Nibiru. Words are hard. So here we summon Uni-Zombie and activate Zombie World. Throw Mizuki. And then here we could do some Nans with the Ash, but I'll just use these 3 cards. So throw Mizuki, and then we'll throw Gozuki. And then here we activate Mizuki's effect. And then we summon Gozuki. And then with Gozuki, we will throw out another Mizuki. And then here we go, Alk. And then we activate Hulk. We go Glow Bloom. Do not link away the Glow Bloom for Link Reaper here, or it'll lock you out, and you won't be able to go into Degda. So we'll go Mizuki. And then we'll bring back... Doesn't matter which, but I'll go Gozuki, I guess. And then we go into Degda here. And then we go Balance. Here's this might look, you know, just whatever, you just have 3 monsters here. But this board is actually the most terrifying board for your opponent. So set 3, whatever. So, I guess they're Monarch, so they don't really care about not being able to special summon from their extra deck, but... So, we go Alk. Chain Degda. And then here we can still activate Solid Rock to banish, but they have nothing here, so we just want to use his effect here. Side. Wonder Magician. And then we pop the side. Side summons itself. And then Wonder Magician. You can wait for this to resolve, but I'm just not gonna wait here. And then we can go into Baron or Shirno Sansaga. And yeah. So you can pop a back row in this situation, I guess. Or you can just go into Baron and take the Omni Negate. And next turn, Baron would be able to pop a card anyways. In this case, I think Baron's probably just better. This isn't that good of a use case, but yeah. The Baron, Degda, Hulk combo. So I kinda lost the replays for some of these, so I'll just be looking at MP4s here. So this guy's going to play a Maxi. And then I'm going to special Uni-Zombie here. Throw out the Banshee, throw out Ballad Rock to play around the Maxi. And then I'll just set Zombie World and my back row and pass. Ballad Rock summons himself back. In case he actually had Called by the Grave there, I can use Return of the Zombies on the Uni-Zombie here. And they'll banish the Uni-Zombie and special the Ballad Rock and the recycle on this. It works like this. If you have a banished zombie monster, it'll return it to the deck. So that could unbanish your Uni-Zombies or your Ballad Rocks or some of your... well, I guess... No, it doesn't really unbanish that much in your extra deck. It'll only unbanish zombies. but you can use that to unbanish Spearmaster, which will be banished from your Swallow Slashes effect, and they'll give you more consistency with that card, and you'll be able to pop 3 with it pretty consistently if you have a Return of the Zombies as well. So anyway, yeah. Here I'm going to replace his Magician Soul with Maxi, because he seems to be a Maxi enjoyer. Ash automatically can be negated by Ballad Rock because it's a zombie. It can negate some hand traps. So I might have been able to lethal here, but I'm playing around Nibiru as well, because I don't know if he has Nibiru or not in hand. But now that I'm thinking back on this, I'm actually just stupid because I have Rivalry, and because of Rivalry, he can't summon, like, Nibiru anyways, unless I destroy the Maxi here. So, actually no, it's fine to play around Nibiru because I can still get Nibiru later, I think. So I'm going to just replace that card with Maxi again. I can't resolve its effect, and then he can't do anything. Scoops. So this has been a pretty long video, but if you've made it this far, thank you for watching till the end. So we'll end this on a zombie combo. Pretty nasty hand if I would say so myself. Glad they didn't have a Nibiru.